This is going to be a video about Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice, and Emma. That is all. I recently read Austen's novel Emma for the first time, and my first impression of Emma Woodhouse was that of extreme dislike. I found her to be incredibly full of herself and rather cold. I thought she was aware of the people around her almost to a fault, picking them apart and analyzing all of their actions, all the while remaining completely oblivious of her own heart and her own true opinions. But I continued reading the book because I love Austen and I would give any of her novels a try. My dislike for Emma came mostly from my tendency to compare her with my favorite heroine, Elizabeth Bennet. Emma lives in a position of privilege, whereas Elizabeth is very aware of her plight and situation within her family, which, while still a gentleman's family, is plighted by silly women, i.e. all the women in her family except Jane, and a rather eccentric father in a time where it was not fashionable to have either. I would argue that Elizabeth is clever, warm, and remarkably selfless. Emma is clever, but in a more hard-hearted way. It takes her the entirety of the novel for her to realize how selfish she is/has been. And where Elizabeth's faults make her endearing, I found that Emma's just made her intolerable. If you're familiar with Pride and Prejudice at all, Elizabeth's whole thing is her prejudice. She immediately misjudges Darcy, and likewise Darcy is too proud and they both have to grow as people in order for them to be together, and it's beautiful and I love it. But Emma is just simply clueless. She thinks she's doing something good, or she thinks she's doing someone a favor, but really she's just acting in her own self-interest. She first befriends Harriet because Miss Taylor has gotten married and she wants a new companion. She flirts with Frank Churchill because she wants to see what it's like, with no regard to what his situation might be. And she offends Miss Bates ultimately in the novel because she wants to show off her wit. By the end, she realizes her mistake. Like Elizabeth and most Jane Austen characters, she learns from her faults and she grows. While I see Elizabeth's growth as a happy side effect of her relationship with Darcy, Emma's growth occurs almost entirely because Mr. Knightley just points out her bad behavior and she suddenly realizes the error of her ways. But because Emma's change does occur, even if it is a flawed change, it makes me like her better as a character. Because even if she is occasionally vain and self-centered, she's still endearingly charming. Like I said before, she looks at the world around her and she picks it apart with all the precision of a game theorist. I read an article earlier today from the New York Times about Michael Che's new book, Jane Austen, Game Theorist. Link below. He argues that Jane Austen's fiction plays by the same rules as some of our greatest strategic thinkers. People who analyze different situations and attempt to project different outcomes in order to come to the correct conclusion of what to do. This is mirrored in the schemes and occasional manipulations of Austen characters. This kind of game theory can be seen directly in Emma with her manipulation of Harriet and Mr. Elton in her attempt to get them together. It is also an example of her failing through her own cluelessness. Another example is her own constant examination of society, of her constant thought process of, if I do this, the outcome will be X. Emma's scheming and her ability to analyze the world does make her a compelling character. It's that element of analysis of the societal world that filters through Austen's novels. I love her books because she talks about more than just trifling matters of love or dances. She encapsulates an entire time period. Either way, I suggest you read Pride and Prejudice and Emma if you have not. Thank you so much for watching, and you'll see me tomorrow. Bye.